Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll bring the meeting of the Lehighton Area School Board to order at 7:01 p.m. The notice of the executive session that occurred before this meeting at 6:15 p.m. for negotiations and personnel. Roll call, Mrs. Wagner.
Ms. Joy Beers? Present. Mr. Richard Belts?
Here.
Mr. David Bradley?
Here.
Mr. Stephen Holman?
Here.
Mrs. Gail Mahalik?
Present.
Mrs. Rita Spinelli? Here. Mr. Wayne Wentz?
Here.
Mr. Andy Answer?
Here.
Mr. Larry Stone?
Yes.
All present.
No presentations for this evening. We'll go right into public comment. First up will be Nicholas Smith.
Yep.
Hello. I'm Nicholas Smith, Student Council Representative of Lehighton High School. I'm here today to discuss some issues that I ran into the past few days. October 14th at 5:20 a.m., I had seen a post on Facebook from a Facebook page of concerned voices of Lehighton classrooms, and the topic was homecoming. The post was claiming there was inappropriate, vulgar language, bad behavior, and that the chaperones were doing nothing to stop it. Of course, I commented defending the student council, because I'm a representative, and the staff. But that's not the main reason I'm here today. The main reason I'm here today is because on October 15th at 11:04 a.m., a day later, I received an email from Mr. David Bradley. That's why I'm here today. I found some things in that email that I believe were inappropriate and should be addressed at this point. I have the copy of the email if you would like it, but I'm not going to read the whole email. I'm just going to point out certain things. In the first topic sentence, it says, "First and foremost, great job in taking a stand and using your First Amendment rights. I will advise you that you should also learn and exercise your 4th, 5th, and 14th. I discussed this with the principal, assistant principal, and my parents and grandfather that is here today. And the 4th, 5th, and 14th Amendments honestly do not have anything to do with anything that was going on. And the 14th Amendment stuck out more clearly than the others, only because of its definition. The 14th Amendment was adopted in 1868 after the American Civil War and addressed the equal protection and rights of former slaves. My family, especially my parents, found that to be kind of a racist comment. I don't exactly believe that, but I'd like some answers. I highlighted a sentence in this email. By the way, the email is like 5 pages long. Until then, I highly recommend you please comply with the laws as they are written and do not use your First Amendment rights in contradiction to your benefits provided to your 4th, 5th, and 14th. Now we show those amendments again. I have reviewed this sentence, 2 sentences, with some other adults, and I don't understand why I would say not to use my First Amendment rights, because that is unconstitutional, and, There's a sentence here, the fact that you admitted through the use of simple logic that some of the inappropriate behaviors were not stopped led one to think the school policy was violated by students and staff. I'd like to say that in no way, shape, or form did I admit to anything that they were saying, And it says, I encourage the freedoms of self-expression. If he's saying that I encourage the freedoms of self-expression, then why did he have a problem with me using my First Amendment rights earlier in the email? It makes no sense. No, that's the answers. That's it.
I'd like to respond if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
post that you asked for reply to your email was in reference to the school dance, which I think we all agree. Do you mind reading your post?
My comment, yeah. of
Your
course.
comment, listen, I am Lehighton.
Would you like me to read the post
The
and
post,
then my
please.
comment?
No, just the post that someone gave to me that I wanted to reply to.
Okay, it was a comment. It says, Nicholas Smith, listen, I'm a Lehighton student and student council representative, and I'd just like to say that you people need to realize that you're high school students and you're more mature and sophisticated, and with that being said, I think that when it comes to vulgar language, it's not a big deal. Honestly, we've heard it all. The chaperones had different tactics on stopping some inappropriate behavior, and if someone says otherwise, they're liars. And some of the tactics didn't work, but there isn't much you can say. Any further questions, please email me at my email.
So, under the First Amendment, as an individual outside of the school, you have every right to say whatever you like. We all agree with that? However, when you're on school property, every student, every parent, every chaperone, every staff member has to follow school policy. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Excellent. So we have school policies on vulgarity and lewd behavior, correct? And it would be a requirement of all students, staff, and members when acting inside of a government school in a government building and acting as government to follow those policies. Okay. So when we look at the first, let me make sure I get these right for you. When you look at the list of amendments that I referenced,
4th, 5th, and 14th.
4th, 5th, and 14th. So what's the 4th Amendment in reference to? And I'm not having you discuss this, but I want to, yeah, 4th, 5th, and 14th. So the 4th Amendment, right? Privacy. 5th Amendment is the right to not incriminate yourself. And the 14th is your civil right, your student right. You have rights as a student that are removed from you inside of these school walls. Just like during the Civil War, during that time, certain rights were prevented from individuals. It was wrong. And this country went to war over giving everyone those rights. Everyone. And I would agree, after meeting you, that you might have felt that that was racially implicated. It was not. I never met you before. It was really a function of students' rights. And right now, we do have a little bit of a civil war in our governments, that our government itself, that runs these schools, have taken away many of your rights. And I believe firmly that you should keep those rights. Every student should have those rights. They should have the same rights that they have in the public park inside of our government buildings. And they should not be removed. So the same right you have walking on the street, you should have inside walking in these halls. And currently we do not have that. So let me go back to your statement to understand, when you made this statement, you said the chaperones had different tactics on stopping some of the inappropriate behaviors.
Exactly, because there was only some.
Correct. And when they stopped some of them, did they leave some behind?
No.
All of them were stopped?
Yes.
And they were not continued?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the question of, that should be reviewed. And when that comes to the attention of a director, a government entity, and this board, they have to judge the actions of every staff member, chaperone, teacher, government aid, anything that happens within these walls. We have a responsibility to protect our students.
If you don't mind me saying, I don't really think there's a need to judge any of the staff members because they were doing their jobs.
Well, it is our responsibility to judge. Now, if you judge, if it's,
Not the way you're judging.
it's a full responsibility, lawful responsibility to not only judge it, but it's also to make sure that the policies are proper and they comply with the law. So the other thing that the tactics that didn't work for some, but did work for others. So what we were under the impression of is that our government school was playing songs that had vulgarity in them, and then they bleeped them out. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then the students inside of the district, inside of our government school during the day, shouted out the bleeped out words. Is that correct?
Yes.
A minor offense. I agree with the concept,
And of course, it was addressed immediately after.
and it stopped.
Mhm.
Okay, it did not go forward.
Yes.
That's excellent, and that's exactly what this board is here to do. So when you bring up your complaint as a citizen, it comes in front of this board to make that evaluation. Now, had you told me that it was different, or had you mentioned that it was different, you would have to address it. And this is the place to address it. This is the government that oversees all of these policies. Now, just like a strip search, just like looking at a lot,
Mr.
the rights of the student, hold on.
Speaking for the board.
I'm speaking
You
for
are not
myself.
speaking for the board.
Thank you, I'll speak for myself.
So please,
The rights,
kindly
the rights
cut
of
it
the
out
student,
You do not have
now.
the
the rights of a student,
if you do not feel.
I'm aware.
the rights of a student, the rights of a student are paramount, and they should be the same outside these walls as inside these walls, and we're fighting for that. You're an advocate of that, correct?
Excuse me, what?
Are you an advocate of students' rights?
No,
Okay,
I'm not.
you are not an advocate of student rights, okay. I'm surprised. As a student, what grade are you in?
I'm not great.
Ninth grade, okay, and you're part of student council.
Yes.
I would like to lobby you, as an individual, to learn about students' rights so that you can be a better advocate for your constituency, because it's important.
Yeah, but being on student council, that's not my job. Okay.
Why do you find that not to be your job?
Because I'm a ninth grade freshman, I'm a student. Okay, I don't.
I would like to elevate that opportunity for you to be able to advocate for your student body, and I'm going to offer you the seat next to me here, because there's two of them open, that you're more than welcome to have the voice. Excuse me, Andy. Excuse me, Andy. Excuse me. So I'd like to help you advocate for the students that you're responsible for. I'd like to give you this seat next to me so that you can voice your opinion to this board and understand the rights of these individuals so that you can protect them, because they count on you and everyone in this room to make sure that they are protected and this community can be saved from that. Lack of that would be an immoral action.
Nicholas, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to come out and express yourself this evening. You did a great job. And through your
No, my comment was just that I think he did an excellent job too, and he is a student council member, and he's aware of the rules that the school has, and he's defending his fellow students, and rights are fine. Responsibilities come with every right, and these kids need to take the responsibility for every one of their rights, and I think he was a perfect example of doing that.
Ms. Bose, you next. I will retain this for later then.
Can I make a comment? Just in case.
Sure.
I would like to see him, would he be willing to
There's
sit on our board?
there's a process that we go through that we had student council president and elder students within the environment that have sat on our board in the past.
Yeah, but that's not a policy, Larry. We can do this if you want to. I don't see why you wouldn't want to. We'd like the voice of student council.
High school administration, if they have.
In the past, the student council president would do a informational report, meeting, and talk about the different programs that are taking place as well. And we did that at the beginning of the meeting, and that was because that allowed them to leave in case the meeting extended. So we have had that in the past. And it was usually a student council president or class president, vice president, someone who was, an elected official as a student council, but elected by their peers as well. So we have done that.
But here you have an opportunity of an articulate, young, energetic man that wants to provide his voice to his board. Why wouldn't you allow him to have that?
He can have his voice heard anytime he would like.
Thank you.
Ms. Rose,
Well,
thank you.
before I
Thank you
start
for-
the agenda items,
want to say I had the pleasure of meeting Nick at the Lehighton Halloween Parade. I found him articulate, polite, very well-mannered, and very, very well, just had a lot of information. And I think he's the type of student that we all hope to have. And I'm very pleased that he came tonight and spoke up. Okay, now, on the agenda items. On the motion to approve the minutes. While the minutes themselves are absolutely correct to what was stated, Director Holland misspoke during his building and grounds report when he said that the middle school window had cracked. And I just think it should be corrected because it was the elementary school window had cracked and was repaired under warranty, not middle school. While they are correct as to what was said, I think he lost his place in what he was reading. And, because I looked up the building and grounds minutes and it states under elementary center, it was mentioned, that's all. The other thing is under the payment of bills, I noticed that there's 2 payments being made to CCTI, one for October and one for November. Not that I have a problem with you paying them ahead, I'm just wondering, is there a reason for that?
Their invoice for November was received prior to us presenting bills, so we included it because the next meeting is not till the end of November.
Oh, okay, I just noticed it. There's a lot of other things I noticed too, but that one stuck out, thank you.
Mr. Bradley, benefits?
Nick, thanks for coming out. I know it takes guts to stand up here in front of your board, and there's many years that they've been silent, so hopefully it's getting better. Okay, our government district board is blocking directors' content.
Wait, that's not what the item that you're referencing in your courtesy of the floor. You're referencing item 8B, benefits.
Don't get it.
No, you reference benefits. You can speak about item 8B, benefits.
Thank you. Our government district board is blocking directors' content from agendas and meetings. Our government district board is blocking directors' access to financial documents.
This is nothing to do with what you stated on your document, Mr. Bradley. Mr. Bradley, no, I'm not. I'm doing my due diligence because you stated, you stated you wanted to speak about item
Benefits, yes, sir.
8B, benefits. So speak about item 8B, benefits payment.
I am, sir.
No, you're not.
I am, sir.
Please do so.
I am, sir. Thank you.
Please.
Okay. So would you like me to start over?
No.
So the government district board is blocking directors' content from agenda and meetings. The government district board is blocking directors' access to financial records, including the benefits contract. The government district board has failed to provide this benefits package to all the board members. We asked each and every board member if anyone had a copy of the benefits package. Not a single one of them does. Now, we've asked for this for months. We have not been able to get it. So prior to you as a board paying for the benefits package, we should at least know what we're paying for by reviewing the bills. The board has also failed to provide resumes of prospective
Now
staff
you're
hires.
off topic again, Mr. Brett. You're off topic. You're off topic.
Please,
You're
Mr.
off topic.
Stern.
You're off topic.
Thank you.
You're off topic, sir.
Is my 3 minutes up?
Almost.
Okay. So this district government board has failed to provide resumes
You're
of
off topic.
prospective staff hires to the
You're
board
off topic.
that include the benefits packages that will be provided to these individual staff members. Yet not a single member on this board has reviewed that prior to their vote tonight. And yet this board will take votes and actions on behalf of the citizens without the proper information, continuing to rubber stamp the administration with their blind trust and not even having the copy. I mean, in the past, Mr. Howell, Mr. Wentz, Mr. Stern, they were given copies of the feasibility study and they failed to read them. Here,
Now
you're
you're
not
off
even
topic
given-
again, Mr. Bradley.
Here, you're not even being given the benefits package documents to even read for yourself. Now, the topic that I asked about was paying the bills, specifically the benefits. And when you look at the fund accounting report that this board receives, the information is lacking. My time's up. Thank you. I yield the rest back to Larry because he likes cutting me off.
Again, just for clarification for the public, there was information that was sent out to the board regarding payments of bills, the cost of insurance, what the employee's responsible is, about a 4-page document that was sent out, that information was sent out to the board.
But the policy was requested months ago, and we have yet to see it, and not a single member of this board has seen the policy or the basis to which that summary was provided.
Again, there is.
So therefore, it is not trustworthy for you to not give us the supporting documents. I don't trust you, Mr. Cleaver. You are an untrustworthy individual.
Thank you.
Therefore, I'd like to verify it with the actual document from the benefits provider. The person that, the company that our business manager used to work for. We should have that.
Thank you.
Document.
Again, just for clarification, that information was sent to the board that had the cost information that would help you see
The summary.
cost of benefits.
The summary.
Thank you.
Is that what you're saying, Mr. Cleaver, the summary?
Again, I have made my comment. Thank you.
Okay, on to communications.
Yeah.
Superintendent's report.
The first Mix-It Update took place at the Elementary Center on October 22nd to encourage the students to break out of their comfort zone and mix up with other students and programs throughout the day. The students and staff did a great job with the program, and I'd like to thank the staff and administration for organizing such a great event. And a special thanks to Patty Everett and Tiff Strasburger for leading the program, and I do see Patty's here, so I just wanted to make sure that a couple individuals were singled out for all the time and effort they put into the program. I heard a lot of great positive interaction with the kids, and again, thank you for going above and beyond your duty as an educator. The district again will be applying for school safety and security grants through the assessment process with our school police officers and building administrators. We have identified the need for vaping sensors at both the high school and middle school. In addition, we would be requesting funding for an additional 12 to 16 cameras at the middle school and high school for security and safety purposes as part of this grant. For security and safety purposes as part of this grant. For Part B of the grant, we are working with the APA Youth Advocate Program, St. Luke's, and additional Carbon Monroe Clay County agencies in an effort to bring additional trauma and mental health training to our staff and, more importantly, our students. If you read and see, mental health is a big concern, and trauma for students is also a big concern. So as part of this grant, we are applying for funding for additional resources to be able to offer our students, community, and parents as a whole. The district has been notified that we've been awarded our LEED Gold certifications for the middle school and elementary center by the U.S. Green Building Council. The award letters have been processed for the districts, and we'll be receiving our official letter in glass plaques for both projects in 3 to 4 weeks. In addition, the U.S. Green Building Council Central Pennsylvania Community selected the Lehighton Area School District as the recipient of the Most Successful Community Engagement Award for 2019. The district will be honored by the Forever Green USGBC Central PA Leadership Board. The Market Leadership Advisory Board and volunteer judges are honored to present this award to the Lehighton Area School District, who demonstrated creative and innovative strategies for connecting either with their internal or external community throughout their building projects. I would like to thank the entire team of staff members, students, community, and board members who have volunteered their time working so diligently on the past building projects over the 6+ years here. So again, it was something, and we were honored, the only school in the state by them for our projects. So there'll be more information coming with that. We were notified by email from the Forever Green, the U.S. Green Building Council in Central Pennsylvania. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Cleaver. And Ms. Denicola, finance, please.
No report tonight.
Thank you. Board President's report.
Excuse me, hold on. No financial report at all?
No report tonight.
Can we at least know how much we collected in taxes so far at the end of the September timeframes for people paying early taxes? Can we at least have that information?
Mr. Bradley, it is on your financial reports that were in your packet.
Yeah, but I don't
That's
see-
the last comment I have.
I don't see any list of the taxes that were collected. I was trying to get that information. We asked for it. We were blocked from getting it. Can you please provide it to our...
Information was in the packet.
Show it to me, Mr.
The
Jensen.
information was in the packet.
Show it to me, Mr. Jensen. Do you have a number?
It's not my responsibility to
Do you-
show you.
Thank you. So I'm asking a question of this board. How much did this board take in for taxes as of the end of the payment date that provided the discount to our citizens? It's a pretty simple metric. How much did we take in from people that were able to take advantage of the discount? Anybody? I mean,
Is it this $9 million?
that's what I'm trying to find out. I don't know if that 9 million, some of it was left over from before, so some of it's convoluted. The report is inaccurate in that respect, that it does not specify the information that a board member is looking for. So I'm asking for
As it
clarification.
always states, if you have a special request, you need to email earlier than, or drop a bomb during the meeting.
So I actually showed up here
So someone that
on,
might not know it right off the top of her head, and right away, a number would be given, which will only be thrown back at them as being possibly incorrect.
so I tried getting access to
Mr. Bradley,
information.
you
Oh, excuse
showed
me.
up today.
I tried getting
No.
information on Thursday.
Mr. Bradley,
I
you
tried
have
getting
misspoken on social media today. I was not going to say anything, but you blatantly lied. You stopped in here today and asked for all financial records for the last 6 years. That is entirely different than public postings that said you asked to look at bills. That is not what happened.
Financial records include in section
Mr. Bradley,
518.
I have no further comments
I
for you.
understand. I'll make my comment. So section 518 of the Pennsylvania School Code lists financial records that are owned by this district board that include purchase orders, bills, invoices, and payments, including the collection of taxes. So whereas I did not need to see all 6 years worth,
But that's
I
what
do
you're
need
saying.
access, I do need access to the information provided to a board. And it's our information. The fact that they're holding it, the administration, our employees are holding it, does not restrict our access to it. The only problem we have here is that it's held behind the glass wall and that the individual director does not have access to that wall in an amicable fashion. So, what I'm asking is very pertinent information, Mr. Stern. Why does this board not have the information it needs to make educated decisions prior to taking action?
Number one, I'm sure Ms. Denicola will send out the information you requested once it's compiled, or she has access to it in her office. So if you want to know the number of taxes collected up until the end of the discount period, if you ask it in an appropriate fashion, I'm sure it will be sent out to the entire board in a prompt fashion. Thank you.
The information that I seek is access to the records, sir. And prior to making a decision, typically, people have information.
And you don't need to make a decision.
So how many,
Thank you.
I don't need to make a decision?
Thank you.
You're-
Thank you for your comments.
Are you blocking me from the information to make an educated decision?
Going to the board president's report. Actually, I'm going to keep it very, very short due to the amount of time we have gone through already this evening. Again, I always state, if you want to see what's going on in the buildings, the use of the Twitter accounts are absolutely fabulous. We have pictures, articles, and all the information on the different programs and happenings within all 3 of our buildings. It's a very valuable resource to stay on top and to gather information of the good things that are going on in our district, similar to the Down Syndrome Appreciation Day, as Mr. Cleaver talked about, the Mix It Up event. I know we had the reading program with Gopher or whatever he was, and we have the Wizards coming up. So there's a lot of good things going on in the district. So please, if you can, subscribe to those accounts, and you will be kept up to date. We're going next to the Memorial Library report. Mrs. Mahal.
The Lehighton Library Board to be opening bids tonight. tomorrow for the construction of the proposed 20 by 50 foot addition. The library director said that several firms showed interest in the project. So I will be going to the meeting tomorrow night. Please be on the lookout for the little Lehighton libraries to show up around Lehighton. The first is now at the Mallard Market. Also, the library will have a presence at the Rotary Craft Fair on Saturday. The next meeting will be held tomorrow.
What is the, can I ask you a question, Ms. Vaughn? What is the Little Lehighton Library?
I think there are little places, there's a
Book exchanges?
book exchange, and it's right at Mallard Market this time.
Okay.
That's the first one, but there'll be more coming in.
All right. It's an exciting time, and hopefully everything will try to build things tomorrow and they get to move forward on that project. Thank you for your report. Legislative policy, Ms. Belling?
I attended the leadership conference at, and that's what my report's going to be on. I attended a leadership conference 2 weeks ago, and some of the highlights, some of the sessions I attended were communications during crisis, policy session, a sexual harassment session, and a wonderful session on academic programs offered by school students. But the most valuable to me was the ability to speak with people from about 15 different school districts at meals, breakfast and lunch, and we discussed common issues such as transportation costs, mandates, social service needs, and an even greater call for cohesive boards to manage things that are occurring today. I voted as a delegate on some minor administration changes, such as changing bullets in platforms from numbers to letters, eliminating language issues that have been resolved, and most important, adding an advocacy platform to look at reducing the distance public schools must provide transportation for non-public schools. Because while we have maybe an issue with that, their city schools have a real hard time with that because it's currently 10 miles. And so there are districts along the state lines that have to transport students to schools in other states and pay for that transportation because of the 10-mile rule. So PSBA is taking that out as a platform for next year. So that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Title I, Ms. Bowman?
Piggyback on Gail's little library, our retired association group started one in Weissport at Chantilly Goods. There's a little one that's, and I'm gonna give credit to Sandy Cookin, that was her idea. All right, Title I. We met October the 9th from 6:15 to 7:45, and we had Sherry Hoffman, who is now presently an author and a former Lehighton teacher, as our presenter. Mr. Tabb welcomed about 30 people in attendance, including staff, parents, and students. And he presented our review of our title program, including monies, which is about $700,000, policies, parent involvement letters, staffing, and benchmark testing. He also talked about the Teach Me to Read program, which will be held on October the 24th for parents of pre-K students, with other sessions in November, April, May, and June. Mr. Sedlin will reach out to parents as well as daycare centers regarding their program. So I found out from Mrs. Hoffman how she got involved to be an author. She actually started writing poetry and did character A through Z with a book called What's in Your Bucket by Carol McCloud on sending positive messages with her students. And her daughter, when she was in kindergarten, told her mom that the principal read to her. So my assumption is that must have been Mr. Sedlin, okay, who probably came in and read a book on kindness. And she was so inspired that she started to write. She has written now 8 books, and she's on her 9th book. And this one is about many of her family and topics of interest. To conclude the evening, Kathy Long, and everybody, I don't know if everybody knows Kathy Long, but she's been a community member a long time, took one of the books and read for us. And she also stressed the importance of being unique and how every audience member had selected a stone for a red pouch, which we kept for our uniqueness. Books, of course, were available to purchase. Everybody had a great time. And our next regular title meeting is November 15th at 7:45. The Parent Advisory Council will be Tuesday, November 12th at 6:30. So we had a nice evening. It was a very nice evening. So it was a lot of fun listening to her evolving as a writer. So kudos to Sherry. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Milner. CCTI, Mr. Jansen?
CCTI, same as the head, is progressing toward the end of the first marking period. Sorry about that. The school year is progressing to the end of the first marking period. Presentations have been given to all the 70 districts by guidance and administration. Fall OAC meeting has taken place. That was on October 1st. PSATs are going to take place at the school on October 16th, as well as the open house on that same day. Freshman tours are going to begin at the CCTI on November 7th, so we'd like to be included in that. And then on November 12th coming up is the precision machine competition, which I believe is the third year that the school is hosting. Brings in a lot of surrounding counties into the CCTI building. Again, being able to show off our building, our facilities, as well as giving some additional exposure. That's what's happening at CCTI.
CLIU, Mr. Wayne?
Yeah, we met last Monday, October 21st, at IU headquarters. Discussed was moving the IU facility currently leased in Palmerton. It will be moved to the location on Interchange Road. Also discussed was the basket raffle fundraiser to be held throughout November with all proceeds to benefit children in the IU coverage area. To purchase gifts for those less fortunate, to make sure those children have a gift for Christmas. Last year, we raised over $4,000. The next scheduled meeting is set for November 18th. That's my report.
Excuse me, Mr. Wentz.
That's my report.
Excuse me, Mr. Wentz. Is the IU renting, or do they physically build that building, as Larry had mentioned before?
That's my report.
No. You mentioned you're building one.
I mentioned nothing.
Okay. Thank you.
Buildings and grounds, Mr. Holland.
We had no meeting this month. A couple of members couldn't make this particular meeting, and our next meeting will be November 12th. Thank you.
Thank you. Academic affairs, we covered myriad topics, including the Title I Fall Night, which was just described by Mrs. Bowman. The activities of Red Ribbon Week, which is ongoing at this point in time, concerning sending a message of stay drug-free. We discussed the district's drug and alcohol education programs for all levels. Another PVOS discussion, which always seems to be very interesting, to put it that way. We also discussed the educational activities that occurred on the 14th, which was the Columbus Day holiday for students, but it was an activity day for staff. And for the good of the order, which I believe was also discussed earlier by Mr. Cleaver, concerning the topics on vaping and what's available from drug and alcohol in St. Luke's on that particular topic. One other topic that we did discuss was the key role that the social workers play in our educational system. I know Mr. Cleaver, and I believe that we'll be talking about that a little bit more in depth next board meeting. But there's a lot of things that that group does that is unknown to anyone. How we're supporting our children in all phases, not only from when they're here, but when they go out and when they come back, what has to happen so that those students can participate and react and be the people they want to be when they come back into our buildings and go back out into the environment that maybe is not as constructive as it could be. So I'm looking forward to hearing that information. And as a final academic, I believe it's the second marking period in high school is closing this week. Second or the first? First. So exciting times with the new scheduling and all that activity going on at the high school. So best wishes to all. Mr. Kraus?
I wanted to continue on with that. I think with the social worker, we're looking to do a presentation in November to kind of give a little background exactly what they are doing, because the family and school community-based part of it is really amazing with what's taking place with them. In addition, I know St. Luke's and Carbon Monroe Pike Drug and Alcohol. I know Mr. Finnegan's here too as well. Mr. Tack as well. They're involved in that. And I have to just say thank you to the opportunities and resources that they keep bringing to our students. And it's a great relationship we have with them, and hopefully we can continue to grow with it. But again, I think it's important to just give a little kudos to, again, that group for Cargo Monroe and Pike Drug and Alcohol, because we have really grown our resources for our students because of the programs that they offer. And they have a presence right here, a couple blocks down the street, which is great. Our students are able to walk and get additional support there, parents. But again, I just wanted to see, I know Mr. Finnegan's here, Mr. Tack as well, with them being on the board. And we appreciate everything you do for our district. So thank you.
Tri-C, Mr. Kraus?
Thank you. You all received the packet, or in your packets, a copy of the Tri-C fall report, but I want to highlight a couple of items in there. Lehighton had a total of 155 students enrolled this fall. Overall enrollment is up 1%, and 93% of the 2018 graduates that responded to a survey are either employed or continuing their education. So again, Tri-C provides a nice pipeline for those students to move into the world. Tri-C also continues to provide innovative programs, services that support student success, and financial assistance through their grants and scholarships. Secondly, Tri-C recently conducted a vulnerability assessment and a sweeping internet scan to identify security weaknesses and determine exposure level to targeted cyber attacks that might compromise the information system. This was done for both internal and external threats. The executive report provided categorized threats as critical or high, medium, and low-level security vulnerabilities. As a result, a plan has been implemented to secure our system, and there were no serious concerns at this time. But I think it was very timely to shore up our security internet system. And lastly, for the first time in several years, Lehighton did not have anybody apply to our Scholars Program, which was a surprise to our president. And this is basically a free associate's degree, so a student applies for it, and an honor student applies for it. It's tuition free. And in addition to that, many four-year institutions will piggyback on that and extend that free tuition toward their bachelor's degree. So it's a great program. I'd encourage any of our students to apply for it, or even if they've already graduated. You never know, people come and go, or if they take on somebody else, as their circumstances have changed since graduation, they could still apply for it. And also it could be used as an incentive for guidance and some of the teachers. And work hard. If you think you can't afford college, there's a way that you can do it and that your hard work will pay off. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus.
Saved by the bell.
Maybe get information about.
Yes, I did check on that. There was one student that was applying for it, they probably would have been accepted, but they ended up going into the military. And
I should have mentioned that, yeah. We did have one apply.
that was going to be
But
honored with it.
they went to military.
So the guidance counselors and everything are aware of it, and they did mention it too at the Scholars Program, and they mentioned at the orientations, the counselors have been mentioning it now too, the parents should come in and try and get that word out, because like you said, it's very important for them to see the opportunities that are there for them.
Thank you. Athletic Committee, Mr. Wentz.
Okay, our field hockey teams qualified for districts and defeated Bethlehem Catholic 3-0 in the first round of the playoffs. And they are actually playing as we speak at Moravian Academy. The football team also qualified for districts and will be playing top seed Northwestern Lehigh Saturday night at Northwestern Lehigh. Tickets will go on sale Wednesday and Thursday at the high school. Tickets are $7, $4 for students and seniors. All tickets will be $7 at the gate. We would also like to thank everyone to keep Jaden Livey, the quarterback for North Schuylkill, who was severely injured on Friday in the game against Pottsville. I understand that Lehighton will be doing a dress down day this Friday to benefit Jaden, and also a shout out to our Lehighton Area Booster Club, who wore Jaden's number 6 on their helmets yesterday in the playoffs. And last but not least, Lehighton Area High School Tri-Pride Marching Band is still undefeated.
I neglected to discuss the policy committee. Policy did not meet this month. It will meet next Wednesday, the 6th of November at 5:45 p.m. in this office. And lastly, but not least, Mrs. Mahalik with the Wellness Committee.
Well, real quick, Larry, why was the policy meeting canceled?
Policy meeting wasn't canceled. It's every other month.
So why was
We had academic affairs, we had policy next week.
and why was that canceled? Why were the,
They were canceled.
there's a couple of meetings canceled this month.
No, they were not.
Building and grounds, I think.
Academic affairs was held, you didn't attend.
Right.
You were out of the.
I'm not part of it. Yep, I'm not part of that.
No, I think you are, yes, you are.
Academic affairs.
I'm policy. I'm policy on it.
No, you're on
We're
academic.
on academic affairs.
Wow, that's awesome. Get me on the personnel committee as well, please. No? Crickets?
How long have you been here now? 2 years. Okay. Okay, the Wellness Committee meeting met on the 11th, I think it was. During the first month of school, the students seem to be enjoying meals served at the cafeteria. The bistro box has started in the middle school and the high school for the staff. The Party Pack program has been introduced. With this program, parents can opt to purchase various packages for their child's birthday instead of bringing in cupcakes. The prices range from $1 to $1.25 and include various options. The backpack program is very successful. It's offering 60 elementary, 10 middle, and 15 high school students backpacks filled with various food staples to take home each weekend. The life skill students have been instrumental in packaging the bags each week. The next meeting is November 12th at 2:45.
Thank you, Ms. Mahalik. That concludes communications. On the approval of minutes, I make a motion in a second to approve the minutes of the September 30th, 2019 regular meeting.
Moved.
Mr. Wentz,
Second.
Mr. Melly.
I have one question, Larry.
Yeah.
So in the minutes, it mentions about the executive session that was noted. How about the other executive sessions between that meeting on September 30th and this meeting today? Will they go on this minutes or will they go on next
They
week?
were actually never held.
I understand that,
So
but,
we don't need to notice of a meeting that was never held.
well, you called one.
But the meetings were never held, so we don't have to.
They were stopped from being held because they were private,
It
right?
doesn't matter, so I don't have to they don't have to be notified because they weren't,
No problem.
they were stopped from being held because of,
Thank you.
wow,
Thank you very much.
because it was disruptive board member, I believe.
No, it was because the Office of Open Records said it would not be considered an open record. Thank you.
recall it was a disruptive board member that ended that session.
Any comments?
And was backed up by the Office of Open Records that it would have been an inappropriate meeting. Thank you, sir. And I think we copied you on that, Mr. Yenser? Did you get a copy? A couple years on the board, Sunshine Act, thank you.
Haven't seen it.
Any further comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? On the financial matters, any motion and a second to approve the Lehighton Area School, High School and Middle School Activities Fund for September 2019.
So,
Mr. Holland? Mr. Valley? Questions on those funds? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion and a second to approve the payment of bills for October 2019 from the general fund for $1.4 million, benefits $21,000, payroll $1.3 million, debit card $230, and food service funds $60,000 for a total of $2,887,610.02. Need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Mr. Yenser?
Second.
Mr. Wentz? Questions? Mr. Bradley?
I'd like to make a motion that we table the payment of bills until the opportunity for this board of directors to review the documents prior to taking action. Can I get a second on the motion, please?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Mr. Wagner?
No public discussion?
I
just
did.
asked-
I addressed them. No one raised their hand.
Just checking, thank you.
Thank you for checking me, Mr. Bradley.
I'm here to back you up, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the table. Scale Hall?
No.
Wait, what was the actual motion? Hold on, can you read the motion, please?
Allow her to vote.
I will, I wanted to hear the motion for myself, because she just voted no on a motion that she seconded.
So I'll let you
So,
She
hold
can
on.
do that, Shane.
I respect that, but I wanted to hear what the motion was, make sure it was changed. What was the motion,
Was the
please?
table of bills?
Table of the bills, correct?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I
Cheers.
would say yes. Wait, I
Oh,
thought I was
Mrs. Reed Spinelli?
saying no.
Mr. William Wentz?
No.
Mr. Andrew Yancer? Mr. Ray Beers?
No.
Mr. Richard Beltz?
No.
Mr. David Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Stephen Holland?
No.
Mr. Larry Stern?
No.
So I get 2 yes, 7 no, motion no.
Could I make a comment? For any teacher, employee in here, he's voting that you don't get paid this month. So just so you know that. Thank you.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the payment of bills. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Guys have it. I need a motion and a second to approve the following reports: budget and revenue reports, expenditure by object reports, revenue report, treasurer's reports, which include capital fund, reserve fund, general fund, capital project fund, and food service fund. Motion and a second, please. Mr. Holland.
Second.
Mr. Yancer. Questions on those reports? Mr. Bradley?
Once again, this board is going to take action on information they do not have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments?
I appreciate the detailed reports that we've been getting, highly more detailed than we had in previous years, so I do appreciate the additional information.
Any further comment? All those in favor of approving the report signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
The ayes have it. I need a motion and a second to approve the payment on the following project from the general fund for a total of $122,768.62. Middle school, to EI for $1,937. Elementary center, EI, Lobar, and Phillips Brothers for $120,830.89. Need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Mr. Wentz,
Second.
Ms. Spinelli. Questions? Mr. Bradley?
On the elementary center, has the punch list been completed, and have we obtained a official occupancy permit and met all the requirements by the Lehighton Borough prior to paying our contractors?
We still have money that is being held. They are not all complete. There's still a couple additional items on the punch list that need to be addressed. One of them that comes to mind is some of the black fencing around the elementary school needs to be addressed. But as far as Phillips Brothers, their punch list items are complete. There still, I believe, is another payment for them as well. And the EI bills are for the lead certification. Now that we received our lead certification, that's why the payment is being paid now.
And what was the total amount given to EI Associates for this elementary center project?
I do not have that information in front of me.
Ms. Denicola, do you happen to know the approximate amount?
I do not have that information in front of me, but I can provide that to the board at a future date.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further questions? All those in favor of payment of those bills signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Need a motion and a second to approve exemptions from the per capita and or occupational tax per the attached list, enclosure number 6.
So moved.
Mr. Bradley?
Second?
Mr. Beers? Mr. Beers? Any questions on that list? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I need a motion and a second.
Excuse me, Mr. Stern.
Yes.
There's names of members of families that are within this board, but yet everyone voted. Is there any requirement for an abstention on that for anyone on the board?
It's a group vote, it's a group.
Is that no?
Voting individuals.
Thank you.
Need a motion and a second to refund the following: occupational tax for the year 2018 in the amount of $122.50 to Sharice DeCrecchio, and occupational and per capita taxes for the year 2019 in the amount of $132.30 to Theodore Nelson.
So moved.
Mr. Wentz? Mr. questions on the refund of those occupational per capita taxes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Need a motion and a second to approve the overdrive consortium agreement with Lehighton. Intermediate Unit 21 in the Lehighton Area School District, for the 2019-2020 school year at a cost not to exceed $2,000, funding through the technology budget, closure number 7.
So moved.
Mr. Lentz?
Second.
Mr. Alley? Questions on that project? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion and a second to accept the donation to the general fund of $5,000 from Walmart Incorporated for the Lehighton Area Elementary Center. Need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Ms. Pinelli?
Second.
Mr. Bradley? Questions on that, comments on that donation? Thank you very much.
How is it going to be used?
It's designated to the elementary center for supplies,
For like art supplies and stuff?
for any supplies that they request.
So who's making the decision on how they're
The
held?
administration and business office.
Not the board?
No.
Will the board be able to review it prior to its consumption?
It's a donation for the elementary center.
I know, but will the board review the allocation of these dollars prior to the administration's allocation of those dollars?
Sure.
Thank you.
Any further comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion and a second to accept the donation of school supplies from donorschoose.org for the middle school art program.
So moved.
Is the answer?
Second.
Mr. Holland? Questions?
I saw this online for donations. Are we as a board not providing enough art supplies? Is this an addition? Is this kind of coming through a PTO? How is this taking place, or how did this get on our agenda?
This is, anyone could go to this program and they could ask for donations of anything. We get donations for wood shops, we get donations for different things, but this individual program was donorshoes.org, and it was for the middle school art program to do some additional programs that they wanted.
So this is in addition to the supplies that this board approves and allocates to those students?
That would be correct. There is additional supplies. This may be above and beyond what they requested, or there may be some that we requested that they did not receive either. I don't have that information.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. On personnel, I need a motion and a second to approve the attached list of candidates for the 2019-2020 substitute list pending clearance. Mr. Yetzer?
Second.
Mr. Bradley?
Two, one professional, one guest teacher.
So it's a challenge.
It's a town, that's fair.
Thank you for the details. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Need a motion and a second to approve the athletic hires recommended by the athletic committee and extracurricular hires for the 2019-2020 school year. Mr. Holland?
Second.
Mr. Wentz? Questions on athletic or extracurricular? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I need a motion and a second to approve the following request for pre-approval of courses of study, programs of study for continuing education for employee number 39. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
The answer?
Second.
Mr. Valley? Any questions on those continuing ed courses? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Need a motion and a second to acknowledge FMLA leaves for the following employees not to exceed 12 weeks, employee number 253 and employee number 40.
So moved.
Mr. Valley?
Second.
The answer? Question on FMLA? All those approved signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion and a second to accept the resignation of the following employees: Eric Kindrew, David Henry, Jessica Schaefer, and Joanna Cosara Barillo. Motion and a second, please. Holland?
Second.
Mr. Wentz? Questions on the resignations? All those in favor of accepting those resignations signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yes, have it. Need a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to hire the following employees in accordance with their respective contracts: Andy Kumpel, part-time cleaner; Joseph Litzko, part-time cleaner; and Samantha Kistler, Director of Special Services. Also need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Mr. Wentz?
Second.
Mr. Holland? Questions?
So here it is again, that you're hiring additional staff, yet this board did not review any applications, resumes, or anything. So this says to approve the recommendation to hire. Who physically recommended these hires to this government agency?
For the Director of Special Education Services, the interview committee that is making that recommendation. And again, these are not additional positions. If you look straight above, there's 2 part-time cleaners that we accept the resignation. So these 2 will be replacing them, so that is not additional. And we accepted the resignation of our special ed director, I believe, 2 months ago. So these are not our additional positions, and the interview committees are the ones that make the recommendation.
And who is on the interview committee?
For the part-time,
Specifically for the Director of Special Services.
again, as stated, it was several individuals from the district employees. I believe there was 7 of them.
And who were they?
Myself, Mr. Duncola, Mr. Tack, Mr. Brown, Ms. Cock, Mr. Snyder, and Ms. Tilley.
So not a single board member was involved in
And
that?
that is correct. Not a single one was involved in this.
And how many people applied for this position?
I believe it was 8.
And how many were interviewed?
I believe we requested 5 interviews, 1 withdrew, so there was 4. And we brought back 2 for a second round.
And during any of that process, was the board made aware of the people applying for this position that ultimately gets hired by this board?
No, they were not.
So no one's ever met this person?
Because in the past, there's individuals on this board, you, who actually posted resumes with phone numbers and private information of these individuals on the website, which to me is really a concern for safety, when the fact that, number one, the employees of these individuals where they're employed at may not be aware at that time that they are applying, or the fact that you put a cell phone number online or someone's home address online, again, is a concern for me. So that is
But they're hired, but
why none of this information.
they're
is
applying
shared
for a
with the board,
government position,
because
correct?
the actions of their past show that it is an unsafe practice. Thank you.
But ultimately, they're applying for a government position. It's public information. And the question becomes, why is not this government taking responsibility to hire people that's fully under their authority? Why are they abdicating that authority blindly, rubber stamping this recommendation without any data? I don't believe anyone in this board that's hiring this person has ever met this person. Has anyone on this board met any of these people?
Can we call the question, please?
Thank you.
I'm asking a question for you, Rita. Are you just rubber stamping this? I mean, come on, we didn't even look at these people?
Motion and a
You're hiring
second
people
on the
that you didn't even
floor
look at?
To accept the recommendation to hire the following employees. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
1, the ayes is here. And at this point, I'd like to introduce Samantha Kistler, who will be our new Director of Special Services. Need a motion and a second to approve sabbatical leave for employee 253 for the purpose of restoration and health for the 2019-2020 school year from November 7th through April 7th. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Mr. Wentz,
Second.
Mr. Holland. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Need a motion and a second to rescind the recommendation to hire the following mentor for the appropriate teacher. Vicky Myers, Tara Barrow.
So moved.
Mr. Wentz,
Second.
Mr. Nally. Any question? What's the information behind?
The information for this is they did not request a mentor. Well, they did request a mentor, then they did not realize that it was a requirement, so they were already employed here.
So there's no requirement?
There was not, and so they declined, they didn't have a mentor, but we already have approved it, so we have to rescind.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. We'll take section 10 miscellaneous as a consent agenda item for item A. I need a motion and a second to approve the following school enrichment journey requests, items 1 through 12.
So moved.
Mr. Wentz.
Second.
Mr. Yenser. Comments on those journeys? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. On programs, I'll take the consent agenda item as well for programs for item A, 1 through 18. Need a motion and a second to approve the use of school property for items 1 through 18.
So moved.
Mr. Melly?
Second.
Mr. Holland? Question on those programs? Mr. Bradley?
I have a question. So I forwarded to the board as a whole a complaint from an individual that is apparently part of the LABA, the Lehighton Area Band Boosters Association. They have an annual small spaghetti dinner fundraiser, which the proceeds go to the school trip. This year they were told that they may pay for the school district janitor for the hours of the fundraiser. In the past, the parents and students simply cleaned up after themselves. The janitor fees are significant considering the profits of this fundraiser. Doesn't make sense that the district is taking fundraiser profits from a school-related organization. Can you please explain this? Now, I notice it's not on the use of the property, at least I don't see it. Is it on here?
Last month.
That was last month?
Yeah.
Okay. So are we charging to use these facilities?
If the event, I'm not sure the date, I don't have that information when it was requested. If the date is over the weekend and someone needs to come in, we talked about this actually at a policy meeting when you were present in March to talk about the use of facilities because it included like kitchen, if they need to use the kitchen as well, that if individuals need to come in, that they would need to be paid to be part of it. Now, for if it's a janitorial position or custodial position, if it's during the week, they don't get charged because we have people on staff. But again, I don't have all the information, but we could check into it. So if it's during the week, they do not get any charge. But if it's on the weekend where someone needs to be called in, they have charge, and that was part of their policy review in March. We would have then probably approved that policy in April. So I'm not aware. I don't know. I'd have to get more information.
All right, so this complaint was filed with the entire board as of this evening after I got it because I forwarded it under the complaint policy. Please report back to the board next month. Thank you, sir.
Would you like to make a comment?
It's November 23rd, and we haven't always cleaned up after ourselves. We've always had a custodian there, where the concern was that the fee was going to be much higher than what it has been in the past.
Do you know what the dollar amount was or the change?
No.
No idea.
No.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Other questions concerning programs? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Need a motion and a second to approve the request to establish a student activity. Anita, need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Only Mr. Bradley. Questions on Item? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Old business?
I have nothing to report other than the information I did send to the board.
Okay. New business?
I have a couple things. So this season for the taxes, apparently we changed printers. Who authorized the changing of the printer? As a board, I don't remember us
We did
taking a
not bring
vote.
that in front of the board. We changed printers because we had a printer that would better meet our needs. And going forward, that printer will be cheaper than the former printer we were utilizing.
They didn't consolidate the bills, so they had to pay multiple postage for each and every set of bills that went out. Was that considered during this process?
Mr. Bradley, there was privacy concerns with consolidation of bills. Sending all bills in one envelope to an apartment building is not appropriate.
Not to an apartment building, to an individual family we're talking. Was that also separated out, or?
Mr. Bradley, we mailed in accordance to how almost every other school district mails their bills.
Okay. And there was also some errors on the bills related to the time of the tax collector's offices. Were they addressed? Were they even consulted? Were they?
Mr. Bradley, this was all addressed in former finance committee meetings. I'm not repeating it. We had addressed this at former finance committee meetings publicly, and this was addressed.
Okay. Did it make it to the board? Anybody remember? Okay. Number 2.
Can I
Sorry.
make a statement on that? Please, since it's a new motion, or a new discussion.
Sure, I'd love to hear your opinion.
All right, I asked my tax collector. Now, in Mahoning Township, she used to print the bills. And for whatever reason, and I'm not questioning why, it was sent out to a different printer. Which she was just as glad, because she had, especially with the lateness of the adoption of the budget, because she would have had to print them, stuff them, and mail them, and get them out by July 1st. So that's what she told me. And that's, I don't know about other tax collectors. I know she was not happy about the hours being incorrect. I was able to look at the previous bills that had arrived to see what her hours were, because evidently those had the hours correct.
Thank you. So, the next subject.
And on where.
We changed schedules for the students, and I'm hearing complaints and/or rumblings that the schedule is creating some chaos within the district. Do we check any academic metrics as to where our students are academically this year with the new schedule versus where they were last year with the old schedule?
With the ending of the first marking period, that is something we can look at, but we don't have a time frame for data collection. It's the first year of the new schedule. We could do that, though.
How are our students doing with this new schedule?
Because there is, different individuals think it's great. Some, again, depending on subjects, don't, think it's a little bit confusing. We're working it out. It's the first year. Again, with anything, the first year you roll it out. There is going to be things that we need to adjust. There's going to be ideas that are thrown out. I know there's already discussion about making some adjustments after this marking to try and make it more of an easier rotation on the student.
Has the district received any formal complaints about the schedule?
The only one I received was one, and I referred that individual to the guidance department, and at this point I just checked with the guidance department as early as yesterday, which was Sunday, just to double check, and that individual did not reach out to have a meeting, nor did that individual come in for a parent conference.
Are we having any trouble with academic availability for sports,
That, I'm not aware.
for their eligibility.
Again, that would be stuff, if you attend the Academic Affairs Committee, which you're on, that would be a great opportunity for you to bring up those questions for discussion.
And I'll bring them up here if I so choose. So the next question is,
Go ahead.
the homeroom,
Mr.
it has used,
Mr. Bradley, can we hold?
excuse me,
Mr. Nicholas, would you like to comment on how the schedule is?
I would. There's
okay.
5 students here from the high school.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Thank you.
As a freshman in the high school, the change the schedule, I didn't really like it, but there was bad things happening. Students were vandalizing bathrooms. Their grades were going down. They were supposed to be attending extra help during that time period, that lunch and learn period. But I know that a lot of people, let's just put it this way, a lot of the freshmen complained to me because they know that with my character, I will stand up and say something. And a lot of the freshmen did use that time to get their work done, to go to clubs, they were places and they got things done during that time period. And it made people upset that they didn't have that time period anymore. They still have the opportunity to do their homework, study for tests, go to other classes, but it's more of a hassle. Now we have to get passes to go to this place, to go to another place. We have to sign out to use the bathrooms, which is really weird because in the morning there's no sign-out sheet, but in the afternoon there is. But yeah, I know a lot of the freshmen are not very happy, and some of the school.
I mean, and thank you for providing that feedback that, it's unfortunate that some had to do things that would take away privilege, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
so the new homeroom,
responsibility.
the new 30-minute homeroom that you have, is that used as study time or class time? I'm sorry.
My name is Shayla. I'm a junior at the high school, and I was here freshman and sophomore year for the block scheduling, and it has been a rather rough transition into a brand new schedule with teachers needing to pace themselves at a whole new pace. And it's, there's so many students that the administration is not struggling. They're looking for ways to help us. And there's a lot of us utilizing our time correctly, and it's a very small amount of people that are misusing the time and creating problems, and they're trying to manage that the best way they can. The new schedule, it's hard, and we're all adjusting to changes, but it's working just fine.
Thank you for your comment.
And we also have only 10 minutes of homeroom in the morning. We do it and then we go to our first period class.
Yeah, so you have a 10-minute homeroom, and then from there, then you move on to your schedule.
We do the pledge and we hear announcements and then we go to our scheduled classes.
Do you have split testing in any of your classes?
I'm sorry?
Do you have something called split testing?
What does that mean?
Thank you, that's what I was going to ask. So Mr. Cleaver, can you please describe what split testing is?
I am not sure what you're referring to.
Or how about flipped classrooms?
For flipped classrooms, there is different teachers. It's just an acronym they use for flipped classrooms. It's just a different way of getting information to the students.
And how does it work?
Well, it depends on, the name flipped classrooms can have different meanings. Some teachers look at a flipped classroom as they present themselves online and it gives the students an opportunity at home to view the lessons or what have you. And the other ones look at the flipped classrooms as the students guide instruction, and then the teacher is more of a facilitator. So the word flipped classrooms has a variety of meanings, same as differentiated instruction means 10,000 different things. So without exactly knowing what you're referring to, I'm just not sure how to answer that.
No problem. And can teachers use multipliers or a bell curve to ensure a passing grade?
If that's part of their syllabus, I'm sure they could.
And can they break down groups of individuals to take tests together?
Again, it would be individual based upon their classroom environment, based upon what class it is. A lot of times labs are done together. Some teacher counts a lab as a test. So in that event, it would definitely be a group testing environment.
And then the next one is, under what authority did a staff member restrict a CCTI student from attending the dance? So the individual that was restricted, under what authority does an individual on our staff have to take away those rights of an individual student?
Again, I don't have an answer for such an unclarified question.
Okay. And then the next one was, they were going to have a meeting about buses. Did that ever occur?
We've had several meetings regarding buses. To this point, I'm not aware of any public concerns with any type of transportation at this point. And we do have a new program, Bus Boss, which is actually, they are currently using now, which is also helping out our business office as well to make sure our calculations are correct. So that's a new program that has also been installed as part to help improve transportation.
And regarding to the agenda, under what authority do you have individually that blocks Melissa from providing information to the entire board that was presented by a director to give to our board?
Again, I have not received any requests for information. If Melissa gets the information, the request and the agenda is created by myself and Mr. Stern.
But after she gives you, so I give her information to share with my board prior to...
You can email it just as well as anybody else.
I did, so I emailed it to Melissa to be shared as part of our FYI package. She's the person. And then it was to be distributed to the board. Under what authority do you have to stop that from entering into our FYI packets so that the entire community can have the information?
I create the agenda and we create the FYI packets. You're more than welcome to submit any type of information. I prefer that it's actually submitted via email because the cost of paper and the cost of printing then goes on the stakeholders for your information that you're trying to make paper copies of.
Correct, but when I provide that information via email, why, under what authority do you have to prevent it from getting to the rest of our board members? Do you have any lawful authority to block communications between board members?
Mr. Bradley, you have an email and everyone's email. You can submit any information you want.
We're talking about things getting onto the agenda, sir, and into this board meeting for the public.
You just said FYI.
Yeah, that's part of the agenda, and it's part of our packet inside of the board meeting. You're saying it's not part of the agenda and not part of our packet.
Agenda, FYI packet, two different things.
I understand that there's an agenda, sir, and it's a piece of paper, and I understand that we're all provided information based upon things that are going to be discussed at this board meeting. If we want to add to this packet in the past, we would email it to Melissa and she would copy individual board members. What gives Mr. Cleaver the authority to stop that information from being shared with the members and prevent it from being distributed to our board for review?
Mr. Bradley, that request came at 3:42 and 5:45 on the day of the meeting. Again, we have a lot of things that are happening, so the fact that very untimely in that request would be one, and again, you could please feel free to email the board.
So your authority was a function of your timing?
That would be part of it because we were trying to...
She was more than willing to do it. She said she could. You stopped her. I'm just wondering why,
Again,
to make a couple copies.
I had my FYI packets done at 2 o'clock that day, because I
Right.
did everything all month long. You sent it to me at 3:42. That
Right.
means I would have had to take those FYI packs where I have lists on it and recreate them. I was not going to recreate them if you were not going to give it to me in a timely manner.
But in the past, we've seen people show up at this board and they've been handed, and then they made copies and
If
come
you
back.
make copies, it would have been 40 pages maybe for everybody. That's a lot of copying.
2 pages, right?
And then 2, and then the one was maybe 12 pages.
Just 2, now the other one's the email, but 2 pages.
So,
again,
So
please feel free
no
to
problem.
email the board at any time, Mr. Bradley. You should find no issue.
It would expedite the meeting. The information, sharing information within our board would expedite the meeting. So there's a list of 30 immoral actions that took place within this district in the last year. So the question I have
So
is,
you want the board to review 30 actions at 3:45 before the meeting?
no, sir, this was given weeks in advance. This was given to the
The
district.
entire board, plus a litany of other people, including the auditor general, on this particular issue. Is that correct?
Correct, sir.
Yeah. So the entire board does have your list of immoral and evil acts by government officials. That's the title of the review.
Correct. And they include 30 well-documented and proven issues of
Well, I'm not
governance.
so sure that we're proven under your ideals. They're not proven under other folks' ideals. And again, it's your interpretation of what has happened, not truthfully what has happened. Because we've seen that just as referenced today, that you'll post something that isn't what happened 2 hours ahead of time.
So you believe, sir, but, so did the
No,
district
that's
get,
why I know.
so did the district get the right to
Don't ruin a
know?
good story with the truth, Larry.
I know.
Don't ruin a good story with the truth here.
Thank you. Did the district get right to know training yet?
Again, Mr. Bradley, this information was sent to the board, the entire list of everything with dates.
Weeks
details,
before.
Information.
Weeks before, sir.
And also, not only that, they also included the PowerPoints from the trainings that they were, part of.
Correct. So this was given to this board weeks before, asked to be put on as director's concern, and was ignored by the control. So the question is, did this district get right to know training that was authorized yet?
Again, the right to know request that you have for the training for the Office of Open Records.
Now, that was a board action. This board authorized.
The whole list was sent to the board with the board information.
I'm picking one off the list, sir. I'm picking one off the list. Number 9. The board authorized this administration to undergo right to know training that is free from the Office of Open Records to save these taxpayers money and make this district more transparent. Did that training occur yet?
11/118 annual online training, the PowerPoint was actually attached for you to view. And then 10/16/2019, there was a training that was attended online for the PA Sunshine Act primer. And you can go on their website.
But did this district provide the administration with the access to the free right to know training provided by the Office of Open Records? The guy comes here to do it. The guy comes here to do it.
Listen to him, he just said it.
Completely separate.
You don't want to listen.
Completely separate, sir.
No courtesy of the floor.
Courtesy of the floor. Ms. Bose. You done? I have a motion and a second. Next meeting, regular scheduled meeting is Monday, November 25th, 2019. Only 119. At 7 p.m. Motion to adjourn. Mr. Yenser. Ms. Manelli. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nay. No. Nobody's opposed to adjourning the meeting. Time 8:28. Yeah. Thank you all for attending. Appreciate your support. Have a good evening.